Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad that you're here. Today we're going to do a March garden tour of all of my garden spaces, and the theme is the old and the new. So I'm going to take you through every space that we have and show you what's growing now, show you what the plans are for that space if for some reason it's not already ready the way that I want it. And I thought that would be a fun video for us to kind of walk and see how things are going at the end of March so that you can get an idea of what it looks like on our homestead. So if you're new here, my name is Barbara. I live in Tennessee in zone 7B. And so we have three main growing spaces here that I'm going to show you today. So right now I'm starting in the back of the house. This is where my garden first started back in April 2020. So this will be my 5th summer gardening, which is wild because I still feel like such a newbie and such a beginner. But on this channel, I really just take you through my journey of how I've learned and approached gardening. And I show you the wins, the losses, the successes. I show you all the things. So in the back of our house, we have 5 raised beds. I started with 4 and then we added an additional one. So we have 5 raised beds and then we also have 3 green stalks. So let's start over here with the raised beds and I'll show you what's growing over there and what the plans are for this summer. Okay, so in 5 of our raised beds, 3 of them have garlic. So this is one bed that has garlic, and you can see I only have garlic on that first row. The rest of the bed is empty. So this is kind of like the last bed that I planted with garlic, and this is what I had left over, enough to fill the one row. But you can see here, these next 2 beds are full of garlic, as you can see here. So the garlic is doing very, very well. That's bed 2. And then that is bed 3 with the garlic. So if you haven't grown a garlic before, definitely put it on your list for this upcoming fall. So you plant garlic in the fall, between September and November, and then you harvest it usually between end of May, July, depending on when you planted it. So it takes a good 6 or 7 months to percolate, but it is one of the easiest crops to do. And so in my garden, I grow hardneck garlic. And so I think I planted three different kinds this year. I don't remember. I'll link the video up here where I actually did that. And you can see which varieties that I planted. But now let me show you the last 2 beds that you and I just planted together a little bit over a month ago. Okay, these last 2 beds are full of onions. And so you and I planted these together at the end of February. So they've been in the ground for about 4 weeks now. And you can see they are doing great. They are growing and doing very, very well. So let's talk about what's the plan for these beds for the summer. Okay, so the beds plans for the summer. So as you know, there's 5 beds full right now. And one of the things I talk about on this channel is definitely being intentional and organized and efficient. So when you're doing crops that take a long time, like garlic, you have to know that when you plant that garlic in the fall, you have to think about when will you be able to harvest that garlic, because that bed is really tied up and you can't use it until you harvest it. So I planted my garlic, I want to say in October, and I will probably harvest it no later than the beginning of June. It should be ready. And then my onions, I did, like I said, the last of February. They take about 100 days. And so again, they'll be ready at the end of May, first part of June. So literally when it comes June, I'll have 5 beds that are empty for the summer. So my plan to fill these 5 beds is I'm actually going to triple, I think, if not triple, at least double my sweet potato beds. I've always just done 1 raised bed of sweet potatoes, but I'm going to do 2 or 3 beds of sweet potatoes. I think I'm going to do 3, which is going to be more than I've ever done before. But I just feel led to up our potato production because sweet potatoes is one of the things that we use very, very often in our house. And my 1 raised bed, it usually will get us, I'll harvest that like maybe the end of September. It'll get us to like maybe January or February, and then we don't have any sweet potatoes and we have to go buy them until the next time. I'm in that process right now of I need sweet potatoes and I have to buy them from the store. So I really want to triple the production since I have the space. So I think I'm going to do 3 raised beds of sweet potatoes this year. And we have a root cellar so we can actually store those crops in there and they'll store pretty well. And then the other 2 beds, I will do 1 bed of Roma tomatoes. And then I'll do a bed of probably peppers, flowers, and things like that. So that's going to be the plan for these 5 beds here. Now, let's go over to the green stalks and let me show you how things are going over there. You and I planted our spring stuff in the green stalks a couple of weeks ago. So as you see, we have 3 green stalks out here. If you're new to GreenStalk, it's a vertical gardening system. The link is down in my description below, and I have a code where you can get $10 off if you want to purchase a GreenStalk. But it's a great way to maximize your space because it only takes up 2 feet of space. And so you and I planted these together a couple of weeks ago. I'll link that video up here. So not much has changed. Things are going well. You can see the stuff is still in there. It's doing well, but it hasn't grown a ton yet. We have had a lot of rain here, and so right now they are trying to dry out, so to speak. The sun will be out today, so that should be good. But overall, they're doing good. And like I said, they're halfway planted with spring stuff. The spaces that are open are going to be filled with flowers and things like that. But you can see overall, no issues whatsoever. Now, I need to fertilize, but I'm trying to wait for them to dry out some before I fertilize, just because I don't want to add more water, because we've had heavy rains for the last couple of days. But overall, they're doing good. The plans for these are, I have the spring stuff in here, and then I'll fill the rest with flowers for the most part. And then I will add a couple of summer veggies like peppers and tomatoes to some of these open spots. But they are pretty much going to be good to go throughout the summer. So that is space number 1. So we have 2 other spaces that we garden in on our homestead. And so the other space is a high tunnel, or people call it a greenhouse, but it's technically a high tunnel. But it's 30 by 96. And so in the high tunnel, we have 6 raised beds, and then we have in-ground rows. We have 5 in-ground rows that are 45 feet long each. And then so we use our tunnel 24/7, 365 days a year. So we're always growing in that space versus out here in my backyard. I use it for garlic in the fall, but after that, really nothing else is in here. It's just kind of lays dormant. And my green stalks, I usually only use in the spring and the summer as well. But the high tunnel, we use every day of the year. We're always growing year round in the high tunnel. So I'm going to take you down there so you can see what's going on down there. And then our third space is actually an in-ground garden space outside. It is 4,000 square feet. And so we have 8 rows that are 100 feet long. The dimensions of the in-ground garden is 40 by 100. And so we have 8 rows, like I said, 100 feet long each. And so we use that only in the summertime. Also in the in-ground garden space, it is a fenced-in area. We have expanded this year by adding raised beds along the perimeter. And so we have, I think, 4 raised beds right now, and we'll continue to add those, as funds allow. We'll just keep adding them on down. So that was a way for us to get additional space without breaking the bank, as well as a lot of, infrastructure changes and things like that. So let's head down to the other part of the homestead, and I'll show you what's going on and growing down there. Okay, so as you can see here, there's a whole lot of weeding that needs to go on out here before we plant the summer garden. But you just imagine in the next, I would say, 6 weeks, this will be filled with summer veggies all the way around. You see we're testing out a silage tarp over there. We haven't had a chance to buy more silage tarps and put them down, just timing. But let me take you over here to the things that are growing. So these are the 4 raised beds that I told you that we added. And so in here we have onions in all 3 of these beds, except this middle one is not filled. But you can see the onions are doing well. And you can see, like I said, we've had a lot of rain, but these need to be watered because they're in the direct sun. There's a lot of direct sun. It's early in the morning here, and the sun just came out, and it's already beaming down here. But you can see the onions are all planted. They're doing fine. There's nothing in this bed right here, but this bed I'm going to put flowers. And you can see, maybe you can tell, this is a shorter bed than the other beds, and that's on purpose, just to kind of break up the aesthetic and stuff. And so these are onions here that are all planted. And then we have onions planted here. So we have 3 raised beds of onions planted along the perimeter. And then of course we have the 2 raised beds behind the house. So we're going to have plenty of onion production, hopefully. And so the plan for these raised beds, because obviously these are going to be pulled up in June. These were planted maybe a couple of weeks later, so like the 1st or 2nd week of March. But by middle of June, they'll be up. And so what am I going to plant here? I'm probably going to do fall potatoes in these beds as well. A round of fall potatoes like we did last year. And then I will fill it up also with flowers and things like that. And I haven't quite decided on what else. Probably some bush green beans maybe, but we have options. So you can see outside, again, I talked about in the beginning of the video that in March, the spaces on the homestead are filled with old and new. And what do I mean by that? So you'll definitely see a lot of the old when we take a tour of the high tunnel, but you can see that out there, you know, we have our onions right now. And so those are going to be there, but that's new, but it's not going to be there forever. It's going to be out by June. But you can see we have old spaces that have not been planted yet. There's going to be planted in the next month or so, which is in the outside garden. And then outside in my backyard, I have a mix of the old and the new. So the garlic has been there since like October, the onion since February, and then I just did the green stalks like last week. So it's a mix of old stuff, new stuff. And then again, you'll see that really heavily in the tunnel because this is the space that we're growing in year round. But the plans for the outside summer garden is that it will be filled with summer veggies. We do everything. We do corn, okra, tomatoes, peppers, squash, zucchini, watermelon, cantaloupe, all of that stuff. So if you have not subscribed to the channel and you want to see how it's going to be transformed and be popping this summer, you want to definitely hit the subscribe button. We always have what we call a big planting party when it's time to plant the summer garden. That's always fun. Right now we're scheduled to do that at the end of, I think it's the last weekend in April. We got a couple of dates in case there's weather or rain issues and all that good stuff. But now let me show you the high tunnel. This is again the place where we grow year round, 24/7, 365. And so what you'll see is definitely a mix of the old and new. So when I talk about the old stuff, because we have a high tunnel, our spring garden was really our fall and winter garden. And we have some other things for spring that are just for spring, but a lot of the stuff that you're going to see has been planted since September. It is now March, right? And so they're on their last round of harvesting, their last round of being in the tunnel, because they will be they don't know it yet, but they're gonna be pulled out in the next month or so when it's time to plant the summer crop. So let me take you around so you can see what's going on in the high tunnel. So this is the first bed on the left hand side. So you can see we have kale. It's like the kale has had a resurgence. It is absolutely stunning and beautiful. This is winter boar kale and red boar kale. And then we have our lettuce here. With the change in the temperatures, with it being cooler in terms of, I shouldn't say cooler, probably warmer is probably the best thing to say. Of course, it has been in here when it's been like 10 degrees, but now that it's kind of, 50 to 70 most of the time, it's like the kale has like rebloomed and a resurgence with this change in the weather. And then also in this bed, we have lettuce. So that's part of the new that we just planted out. Maybe some of this is like a week old and then some of it is like a month old, but you can see it is absolutely, absolutely stunning. And then we have some cilantro in the back that's new. So this bed is a mix of old. This kale has been in here literally since September. It has fed our family. It has fed multiple families and it continues to thrive. I will let it stay in here until the very last moment, which will probably be the end of April. And then we will pull it out because it'll probably still be going. And then this is some new stuff we planted in these pots. This is our mint. So this is, regular mint. And then this right here is peppermint. So that's regular mint and that's peppermint that we just planted in a pot. So that's new for this season right here. And then moving on to this next bed here, the old part is the carrots. So you see we have carrots on the left and the right. They've been in here. And again, this bed was already full of carrots that we harvested. back in probably November, December. I still have tons of carrots in my refrigerator. This is our second round of carrots on both ends, the left and the right. And so we'll keep them in here until they're ready to go. But then here is the new stuff. So we have some dill that we planted back here as part of our spring crops. We did those from seed. And then we have some cilantro that we planted in here last week that is going to come up as well. So this bed will be the carrots, the dill, and the cilantro. Our third bed here, we had it full of bok choy, like from the front to the back. We have harvested so much bok choy, and we do still have, it looks like 4 there that are still doing great. This is a Brussels sprout that has decided that it wants to join the party. We've already harvested Brussels sprouts. And then the rest of the bed is pretty much empty. We have to get it ready. There's a couple of more bok choy back there. There is a cabbage that I think we'll still be able to get there. And then this right here, yeah, I don't know. That was something that was there that got eaten, apparently. And then this is rosemary that we've had in here for, it's almost a year now. So this bed is like partially, well, this bed is all old stuff. And so as it gets ready to harvest, we'll pull this out, and this will be a summer bed that we'll get ready to plant. Going across the way, this bed looks empty, but this is new in the sense of there are potatoes in here. They just have not sprouted yet and come up. They've been in here for probably about, I don't know, 7 or 8 days. And so hopefully they'll be sprouting in the next week or so. And then in the back are snapdragons that we overwintered, and we started these from seed and we planted those out here in September. So this bed will be full of potatoes. In this bed are Yukon Gold and russet potatoes. So we'll have that. This bed here, we just actually harvested yesterday. This was our red cabbage. And so the bed looks tore up just because we just harvested. So we'll be getting this ready for summer. And then there's just one lone lettuce here, but she's okay hanging out all by herself. She's pretty, she's good. And then here in our pots, these are new. This is strawberry mint there, and then this is spearmint. So I have 4 mints going on this year. I've never done spearmint before, so that's a first. And then this very last bed here is pretty much mostly new stuff. Now y'all, this is my spinach that I planted in September that did absolutely nothing. I did it from seed, but now all of a sudden she's like, let me join this party, will you please? Okay, so y'all just don't leave. I mean, she was there like hanging on by a thread. And this whole bed was full of our Brussels sprouts for the fall and winter. And we harvested a ton. I still have Brussels sprouts, 2 gallon size bags full of Brussels sprouts. It was a very good Brussels sprout year. But this spinach, once I took the Brussels sprouts out, she was like, okay, now I can do my thing. And she doing it. She is doing it. But the rest of the bed is all new. So this is going to be like our herb bed. And so we do have some celery there that we did from seed. There is some thyme there. Here is some sage, parsley, chives, more thyme back there. That's another celery. And then back there in the back is some rosemary and more thyme and cilantro. So we still have more space in this bed to put more herbs. And then of course we have our eucalyptus that has been with us for quite some time. Okay, so that's the raised beds. And so you can see that I've already started some of the spring stuff in the raised beds. And then we also still have stuff that we've had in here since September. So the things that will be coming out in the raised beds, obviously the bok choy and the kale and the cabbage and the Brussels sprouts, those things will be coming out shortly in the next month or so. And we will replace that with summer crops. All of the herbs and stuff, they'll last throughout the summer. And then the dill is usually good until maybe June or so. And then once it gets really hot, the dill will bolt. We'll take out the carrots when they're ready. The cilantro, again, is good to like maybe June or so, and then it'll bolt because it really prefers cool season. So in these beds, we'll just replace it. Usually in the beds, I will have one bed that's completely full of flowers. I call that my pollinator patch, that brings bees into the tunnel as well as provides beauty. So we'll have a bed full of flowers. We will also have a bed full of peppers. I will do a bed of spicy peppers like cayenne pepper, and I'll probably do the ají crystal, the new pepper that I'm doing, in one of the beds. And then on the opposite side, we may have some bell peppers or things that are not spicy, like the ajvarsky or roasting red pepper and things like that. So that is the plan for the tunnel. So we're in transition between the old and the new. Now let's go take a look at the in-ground spaces. All of that stuff in ground is old and more cool season things. And so they don't know it yet either, but they got like 30 days and they about to be evicted. So let's go look and see what's going on down there. First, let's stop at these metal raised beds that we have here. You can see, again, this stuff has like just come back to life more abundantly. Let me just say that. All of this is oregano in the center. You know that oregano spreads. I need to come out here and harvest my oregano. Look at this sage. It has been here since last summer, so probably around April. So it's going on a year. It has it made it through the winter and all that, and now it's just like coming back full force. There's one there, and then there's one there. That's an old dusty miller that I had, that I actually grew from seed last year. And so this bed is looking good. And then let's walk over here to our bed that usually has our comfrey. And y'all, look at this comfrey sprouting up. It looks empty right now, but you best believe, give it 30 or 60 days, this whole bed will be full of comfrey. So this is the only one that I planted from the comfrey cuttings that I had, but you can see that I have more coming up right in here. That's just there from the comfrey that I pulled up in the ground. Okay, and so let me take you over here because this is where I need help. SOS help. These are where we did the blueberries last year for the first time. Obviously they've gone dormant, but y'all, what am I supposed to do? I'm assuming add some peat moss and start watering. And is it gonna do anything? Is it gonna come back? Am I already too late? Let me know. I don't know what those little things are there. I don't know anything about blueberries, but I don't see no sign of it coming back. But maybe I need to add some peat moss and then water and see what happens. We'll see. And then this is my very first eucalyptus. Is she not beautiful? I grew this from seed 4 years ago. She's still here. It's gonna about take a ladder for me to get up here and actually harvest. I need to harvest some. I got plenty of it. Okay, so now let's go to the in-ground beds. So as you can see, for the most part, it's only like 50% full. This right here, y'all, were all cabbages and bok choy. We have harvested every last one of these, and we did not refill the holes because it'll be refilled for the summer. Look at this beautiful lettuce that's right here, though. That's now popping up. I need to get this and take this in the house. That is beautiful. And then y'all, look at this kale. Absolutely. It has been in here since September. And again, it has just like resurged all of a sudden. And then on this row are all the collards that we desperately need to come out here to get, because you can see they're already starting to bolt. You can see that there. So I pray they're not too bitter. I just been taking this part off. And we're trying to get them as fast as we can. We just cannot keep up. These are all the greens here. And then in the center is some kale. So let's walk around. Look at all of these collard greens. They are everywhere. Now, we have started to harvest these. which is where you see all the empty stuff here. All of this was collard greens. We have harvested it. I have 8 gallon size bags of collard greens that I just put up in the freezer the other day. But y'all, I'm gonna have so much more. Time is not on my side. I'm trying my best to get out here because, you know, once I bring them in, I actually have to do something with them. Here's a cabbage that's coming up that we had did succession sow on. There's some more cabbages there. I don't know if they're gonna make it in the next 30 days. And then here is one collard green that we still need to get as well, get the leaves and stuff. So we have work to do. And then over here, this is where all of our Brussels sprouts were that we harvested. So you can see here, and we didn't replant anything in that space. There is a cabbage there that's coming up. There's another cabbage that's coming up. A stray lettuce over there. All of these are the broccoli that I succession sowed and planted, but they are taking forever. That I don't know if they're gonna make it, and they need to be fertilized. You can see I have some purpling of the leaves there. They need some phosphorus. Again, this soil has not been amended since this time last year, because we've had our summer crops in here and our fall crops. And so once this gets pulled out, the soil will be amended. And then we have more and more and more collard greens there. Okay guys, so the sun is very weird today. It's sunny in some parts, and then it's overcast, and the sun keeps shifting. So it's hard for me to get great lighting on this particular day. But to kind of talk about the plans for the in-ground space in the tunnel. So right now, a lot of that stuff, like I said, has been in here since September. And we have had multiple harvests. On the collard greens, y'all, I have had so much harvested. We have eaten a ton. I don't have any in my freezer because we've eaten a lot of it fresh. So the things that I'm pulling now are absolutely for the freezer. And like I said, we came out here and we did maybe 1/4 of the row, and that was 8 gallon size freezer bags. I got to come out here and do some more. It's just that time is not on my side, because once I harvest it, then I have to, you know, go ahead and chop it and put it in the freezer. You know, we can put it in the sink with some water so that it doesn't wilt. But once I put it in my sink in my kitchen is kind of out of commission. I wish that I had a separate sink, almost like a wash tub, to do greens and lettuces. That would be ideal, but I don't have that. I'm just working with a home kitchen. So anyway, my whole point is, I don't want you to think that we are being wasteful. It is just literally a matter of the time to harvest and to get them in the freezer and all that. So I am praying over those greens, that they will hang on just a couple of more days and not be bitter and all of that stuff. Because once they start to bolt, they will definitely get bitter. But then once we harvest the greens, we're just going to pull the plants up. I'm not going to try to get another harvest before April. I don't even know once they start bolting if they will do that again, but we'll just be clearing it up. So in terms of the old and the new, the things that we are harvesting for like the final time and things like that, we'll pull up the plant like we've been doing. Like we pulled up the Brussels sprouts plant. We didn't put anything else in that space because we're preparing it for the summer. So between now and the next garden tour, obviously the next garden tour will probably be a planting tour of planting the tunnel at the end of April. But between now and then, we will be doing a lot of harvesting. We will be amending beds that we have not amended yet, and we will be amending the soil. I just got my soil test results on yesterday, so I have an idea, and I've already ordered all the things that I need. I waited until my soil test so that I was for sure ordering the right thing, but I've ordered what I need to amend the soil, not only in the tunnel but also out here. We will plant the tunnel first, and then it will follow with the in-ground. See, y'all haven't moved. I don't know if you can tell, but it's like the light has just literally, the sun keeps moving. And then we will plant the outside space out here. So that's what's going on in March on our homestead. Many of you, if you have a similar setup like with the high tunnel, you may be experiencing some of the same things. Or if you had a fall garden, outside or a hoop house or low tunnel, that you may be experiencing the exact same thing with you've had stuff already that people are now just doing for spring and you're transitioning and all of that. Or maybe you didn't do anything in the fall and winter and you have your spring garden going fast and furious, and then also planning for your summer garden. But that is where we are. The next tour per se will probably be the planting party. I probably won't do an April garden tour because that'll be us planting, and then we will have our first summer garden tour probably in May. But y'all, I'm so excited about the summer garden season, but I'm also a little I'm letting this take its time. I mean, it's moving. We're 3 weeks away. It's moving. I'm enjoying this different season of rest. It's not really rest, but it's a different pace, because I know once the summer hits, it is full on summer press. I hope that your gardens are doing very, very well. If you have questions about anything that I showed you, or just leave me a comment on how your gardens are doing, I would love to hear it. Remember, gardening is a journey. Let's grow together. I'll see you next time, friend.